the Messiah refers to a religious term, the period before the coming of the Messiah. And one of the characteristics of this period is catastrophe after catastrophe. It is a very important production for me because traditionally the American Jewry has supported the right wing in Israel without really taking responsibility and without really knowing what does it mean.
I don't think American Jews understand exactly what's going on over there.
There were many elements in the American Jewry that ferociously attacked Rabin, and many American rabbis who called for his assassination.
The play, of course, is about Jews. All of the characters are part of the same community. All of them are settlers. All of them are people who believe in this ideology. But I think it's important to recognize that the dynamics of this sort of extremism is really the same for Muslims, Christians, and I think for secular radicals as well. To take this as a norm or as an integral part of Zionism is a very, very dangerous mistake. This is mutant Zionism.
It's a very, very sad turn of events that see a family fall apart and a country fall apart and a region fall apart because of unrequited rage.
This show is important. What it's saying is important about how dangerous these fundamentalists can be. And I'm talking about the Jewish fundamentalists.
The play was written in 1986 during times that Israel has begun some secret dialogues with Jordan. For the first time, Israel recognized the necessity to withdraw from most of the occupied territories.
The impetus to write the play in 1985 and 1986 was the discovery of the Jewish underground, discovered just before they were able to put bombs on the 6 buses in East Jerusalem. And the next operation they planned was the bombing of the mosques on the Temple Mount. The character, Benny, in the play is actually based on a real character. His name is Yehuda Etzion, who was the head of the Jewish underground that was discovered in the 40s. And he developed the messianic idea a step further.
Ask yourself how we can awaken this nation from the slumber it is sunk into. How we can stop its degeneration, how we can bring it back to the Almighty.
He said, not only that the coming of the Messiah is irreversible, not only that it is certain that the Messiah will arrive, but we can make him come sooner.
I think that altogether we had about 120,000 people seeing the play. Part of them came from the settlements, and I was surprised to see buses coming from the settlements to see the play with great interest. For the first time they felt that they are represented on the stage as human beings by a writer who's regarded as a left-wing writer, and they appreciated it. On the other hand, they hated the conclusions, the political conclusions of the play, and they hated the idea that the settlements and the settlers have a small minority in them which is so messianic that they would carry out terror actions, terror activities in order to bring the Messiah faster.
This morning you told me explicitly that when the desperate time comes, we shall do everything to shake the heavens in order to avoid disaster.
This play is a completely new thing for me. For me, as for all Palestinians, the word settler evokes evil. But this play draws you into the humanity of a family of people who care deeply for each other, who are struggling with familiar problems and emotions. It faces me to deal with human beings who are very real human beings.
The mixture of the daily, of the ordinary, of the human, and the religious and the responsibility for the world is something that I think for many of the settlers, this is part of the way they live.
It just happens to be right-wing, extreme Jewish settlers. I could see this Timothy McVeigh, who, by the way, was a very right-wing Christian. Many people don't say that, but he was. As well as, of course, extreme Muslims who would mention the infamous Dr. Goldstein in Hebron when he massacred the Muslims in that mosque in February of 1994. We know that he too, just like Benny, wanted to derail the peace process, right? That's why he did it.
Why not clash with the army? The army's the enemy!
And guess what he discovered? That the first suicide bombers to drop in Israel did not occur until 2 months after this horrible act. They never were there before. And in fact, he quotes a Hamas leader thanking Dr. Goldstein for even giving him the idea of suicide bombings.
I even, in some ways, identify with Benny. Like Benny, I myself was in an Israeli prison. And while I was in prison, I met a person, Mohammed Alayan, was a confessed killer of several Jewish civilians. Benny, in many ways, reminded me of Mohammed Alayan. Many Palestinians would, of course, consider Mohammed Alayan a hero, just as many settlers would consider Benny a hero.
Ask at the synagogue how I praised you while you were in prison.
A people who have suffered so deeply and for so long can develop a kind of messianism. I call this the narcissism of suffering. We were baptized in the fire of suffering, and anything we do to defend our tribe is holy.
Whenever there's a chance for any peace, there was sabotage. There was sabotage. Either by killing the Prime Minister, which they did 10 years ago, or more than 10 years ago, or they would do other actions like the one that I described.